SmackDown took place in London, England at OVA Arena Wembley, which was a venue that was noticeably smaller than the O2, which is where WWE usually runs events whenever they're in London. Now, the show started off with some shots of London at night. We had Joe Tessitore and Corey Graves on commentary, which surprised me because Wade Barrett is British, and you would have expected that he would have called SmackDown in his home country, and he's not even scheduled for Raw either, which takes place in Northern Ireland. So you have both SmackDown and Raw taking place in the UK, and he is not calling either one of those shows. Hope everything is okay with Wade. Now, we started off with, we saw 6 men in Scottish garb playing the bagpipes, obviously for Drew McIntyre. They play him out like a WrestleMania entrance. He gets a big pop when he comes out, then he gets a giant pyro display as if he just won the main event of WrestleMania. And it's a total babyface promo until he turns on the crowd pretty quickly into it. He says, "Screw you," and then the fans were actually chanting for Cody. Drew revealed that there will be no rematch with Cody as he negotiated with Nick Aldis in the contract. Then he's interrupted by Randy Orton, who gets a big pop. Randy says he will beat Drew, and then Jacob Fatu comes out, and Corey Graves with the best line of the night saying, "The werewolf is in London." That's a reference to An American Werewolf in London, a really great horror movie in the 1980s that you should check out if you haven't seen it. But Jacob goes right after Drew. He chases him through the crowd, and they both disappear, and then Randy is distracted. He's looking on, but that's when The Miz sneaks up from behind Randy and hits an skull-crushing finale. And that set up their match, and when we come back from break, and this match, Randy Orton and The Miz, it's a match you'd expect to see in the year 2011 instead of 2026. So after Miz hit the finisher in the match when they came back from break, Miz got the heat. Randy actually kicked out of a skull-crushing finale. Then, as you'd expect, Randy won with the RKO. Just some little trivia here. Randy Orton debuted in 2002 and The Miz in 2006, and they're still wrestling in the year 2026. Backstage, Ilya Dragunov was telling Drew McIntyre he's one step closer to the championship. Drew just kind of brushes him off as he's being chased by Jacob, and he was more concerned about that. We get some Wyatt 6 video promo on a VHS tape. And then we go backstage to see Alexa Bliss warming up for a tag team match with Charlotte Flair. And that's when Charlotte bumps into her, kind of in a friendly way. And she explains to Alexa that she was really sick last week. And Alexa doesn't really believe her at first. And Charlotte apologizes. They're teasing tension, and I hope they don't because, I like them as a team, and I like to see them continue as a team. But they were clearly teasing tension here. And after Alexa leaves, Nia Jax and Lash Legend walk up to Charlotte. They try to have her turn against Alexa, trying to sow dissension between them. And Charlotte doesn't fall for it, just like how Alexa didn't fall for it last week. Julia and Kiana James were out next, and I'm just going to say it right now. It's very hard for Julia to get over when she comes out next to Kiana James because everyone's going to be looking at Kiana James's tits hanging out. I'm sorry to say it like that, but it's distracting and it hurts Julia and it prevents her from getting over. This is a horrible pairing. They have like no chemistry together. Whoever put them together made a huge mistake. They're awful together. So when we come back from break, they show us some of the sights of London. We see Big Ben, the clock tower, and then we see next to it the Palace of Westminster. Charlotte Flair was out next to a big pop, and then Alexa Bliss was out also to a pop, but the fans were more into Charlotte. One of the few times where Charlotte got a bigger reaction than Alexa did. And we get Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair taking on Julia and Kiana James. So they get the heat on Alexa for a while, and then Alexa makes the hot tag to Charlotte. She went wild. Crowd was really hot for Charlotte. Then they briefly get the heat on Charlotte for a while, but then Alexa tags in, and she hits the Sister Abigail DDT on Kiana James for the win. After the match, however, Nia Jax and Lash Legend attack Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. So they're going to continue with that feud. And then Julia is actually standing up to them, but then Kiana James is holding them back. Also wanted to point out when Alexa Bliss got the pin, they played her theme music from like 2002 that I never liked. I love her theme song right now, The Fury. That's way better. She doesn't like her old theme song when she was the goddess. I think she was Spiteful. That was a great theme song, but I don't think she really likes it. But yeah, her theme song from like '02 with the lyrics, never been a big fan of that at all. We got a Solo Sikoa video promo with the lantern. I guess he's take. I mean, I guess it's like taking the Undertaker's urn. You're taking away Bray Wyatt's lantern, and the Wyatt Six are revenging Bray Wyatt. I guess it's like, you take the Undertaker's urn. You're disrespecting Paul Bearer or something. That's how I kind of see it now. Solo demanded a tag team title match, so in order for them to get their lantern back, Cody Rhodes was out next. And fans were really into him to start, but then they slowly begin churning on him. And maybe it's only Europe, I assume it is. But fans start chanting for Drew. Then Cody gets some cheap pops when he mentions What Culture Wrestling. And then he said London deserves a WrestleMania. That gets a big pop, as you'd expect. Then he officially declares himself an entrant for the Royal Rumble. That's the first time I think someone has mentioned this event on the show. Like, this year, like, no one talks about the Royal Rumble. This is like the second biggest show of the year. It takes place in what is it now? 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. No one talks about it. It's incredible. Like, no one talks about the Rumble. I guess they've kind of talked about the title match at the Rumble, but no one actually talks about the Royal Rumble, which is incredible. Now, he then cuts a promo on Jacob Fatu. He says a receipt is coming. Then we go backstage. Kathy Kelly is interviewing Matt Cardona, and that's when he says he wants to be champion. He cut a promo there. Then Trick Williams was out to a pop. Fans chanting, "Whoop that Trick." To me, this is the Yeet 2.0. I don't like the Yeet. If you follow my channel for the last year, you know I'm not a big fan. That's all I see, Whoop that Trick. I thought he sucked in NXT the last year. Not a fan of him in the ring. No Trick Williams fan here, okay? So after the break, Matt Cardona comes out next. Then we get Matt Cardona and Trick Williams under qualifying match. Fans were more into Trick, even though he was the heel. Trick just sucks in the ring. He's stunking up in NXT. As I said, I think he's Jey Uso 2.0. He's just an entrance. Trick hit the trick shot for the win, and I'm telling you, he sucks. Not good for Matt Cardona. He's already jobbing again. Then Kit Wilson comes out after Trick was celebrating. He attacks Cardona. He throws him into the ringside. I just think with Kit Wilson, the way they're setting it up, he's going to get beat up at WrestleMania by some legends. That's what's going to happen. That's where he's heading. Backstage, Kathy Kelly interviewed Damian Priest before his match against Solo Sikoa. He was really struggling with his words here. Not a good look for Priest tonight. Kit Wilson was in the ring, and as he's cutting a promo, Jacob Fatu appears behind him and hits a super kick, then a moonsault. He grabs the mic and calls out Cody Rhodes, who comes out, and they brawl briefly before security separates them. When we come back from break, it's officially announced that Cody Rhodes will take on Jacob Fatu at Saturday night's main event in about 8 days in Montreal. Solo Sikoa and the MFT were out next. Then Damian Priest was out, and we get Damian Priest against Solo Sikoa, the third qualifying match of the night. MFT got involved in the match, and what happened was Tala Tonga got ejected, and then they're actually having a really good match. I'm not a fan of Solo at all, but it was actually a pretty solid matchup here. And then the lights go out, and the Wyatt Six attack the MFTs. Then back in the ring, Damian Priest hits the South of Heaven chokeslam onto Solo Sikoa to win. So Priest qualifies. And then Uncle Howdy is about to regain the lantern finally. But then Tala Tonga attacks him. He grabs the lantern. I thought, oh shit, he is going to fucking smash that lantern. No, he just gives it to Solo and they leave. But that's what happened there. Backstage, Drew McIntyre was talking down to Sami Zayn. This is clearly, in my opinion, going to be the Rumble match. I think that's where they're heading. Carmelo Hayes was out next, and then they show us, after the break, they show us the London Bridge and the skyline, London at night, looking great. And then they gave us a preview of WWE Unreal. And then The Carmelo Hayes' open challenge was answered by the hometown boy, Leon Slater, who's from the UK. Made sense for him to come out. And we get our United States Championship match, Carmelo Hayes and Leon Slater, and what I thought was clearly the match of the night here. The fans were fully behind Leon. Melo was selling his knee very well. The match became great. So much athleticism. Leon Slater's incredible. Him and Javon Evans they're so athletic, man. It's crazy. Slater had an incredible flip where he dove over he dove over the ring post to the outside, which was great. Carmelo won after he hit a sick inverted cutter from the top. Great matchup here. Nothing else to say. Just a hell of a match. In my opinion, easily the match of the night. Shinsuke Nakamura was watching in the back, and that's when Tama Tonga walks up to him. He says the championship is his, and he warns Shinsuke to stay away. Nakamura responds by talking in Japanese, and he never actually talked in English, so we really don't know what he's saying unless you understand Japanese. Backstage, Axiom was asking Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae to hand over the mask, and then what happened right after that was Nathan Frazier actually appeared with the mask, and he took a shot at Johnny Gargano, knocking him down, and then he tells him that he's having a match with Johnny Gargano next week on SmackDown. Chelsea Green was out next with Alba Fire. She got a good pop. I'm just going to say it right now. She looked great tonight. Can we just say that? Chelsea was looking really hot. Then when they come back from break, they promoted WrestleMania 42. Then we got an Oba Femi video package. Jade Cargill was at ringside to watch Jordan Grace's match against Chelsea Green. Grace was out next. Her music is generic, man. She needs those sirens back. That gave her more of an identity. Then we get Jordan Grace and Chelsea Green. As I said, Chelsea looked great. But Jordan really just dominated the match. Wasn't much here. She beat her decisively. Didn't destroy her like she just squashed Alba Fire last week, but was really one-sided. After the match, Jordan cuts a promo on Jade. She calls her out. Jade goes to the apron, but then that's when Chelsea is trying to take a cheap shot at Jordan. Instead, she bumps into Jade and she knocks her off the apron onto the ground. Jade holds up the belt. Jordan holds up Jade's belt afterwards, and they're setting up that match, Jordan Grace and Jade Cargill. Backstage, Kathy Kelly was interviewing Trick Williams after his victory. Then Damian Priest confronted him. That set up a match next week. Ilya Dragunov was out next. When we come back from break, they preview next week's show. Sami Zayn was out next to a big pop. Fans singing his song, and then we get our final qualifying match of the night and the main event. Sami Zayn against Ilya Dragunov, a rematch, and when Ilya Dragunov defeated Sami Zayn to win the United States Championship from him. So Ilya was actually busted open in the match. I think it was above his eye. They really didn't clean it up too much. They let him bleed for a while. They had a really good, fun back and forth match. Fans were much more into Ilya, which surprised me, and Sami actually got some boos. But this is it's really not indicative of the crowds you see most weeks. It is an international crowd, but they were more into Ilya here. Eventually, Sami Zayn wins the match after a haluva kick. He wins, and he's the fourth man to qualify. After the match, however, Trick Williams attacks Sami Zayn, hits him with the trick shot, and he stands over him, and that's how SmackDown officially ended from London, England. Overall, I thought it was a pretty decent SmackDown. It was a wrestling-heavy show. If you're into work rate, if you just want to watch matches and that's what you're into more so than backstage interviews and talking segments and storylines, if you just want to watch good wrestling, this was your kind of show because this had a lot of wrestling on it. This had more wrestling on a WWE TV show than I can remember. It had to be in years, maybe ever. I don't know because it's a 3-hour show, but there was a lot of wrestling on this show. That's what it was built around. I thought it was okay. Actually, more of a decent show. Not on the level of the previous 2 weeks, but again, I think it just felt like a smaller show as compared to the last 2 weeks. The first show was the official first SmackDown of the year in Brooklyn. Then the second show, which was in Berlin, Germany, that was built around the 3 stages of hell. And this show just didn't have a match at that level, nowhere close. But I still thought in London it was a good show. Not your typical really hot London crowd. It wasn't the O2 crowd. and that definitely showed. They weren't in the O2, it was a smaller arena. I didn't think the crowd was necessarily as hot as compared to other London crowds. That was definitely noticeable for the night. But that was SmackDown in London, and we'll see what's next, as Raw is going to be the last stop on the European tour.